All right, this is episode 33. I'm back here with my brother, and we are going to, I don't know, probably argue about a lot more stuff.
Hmm. I'm gonna try and educate you
You're not going to
about
educate.
the.
You're not going to educate me on much.
Yeah.
So, I want to start off with. I have a few different, like situations that I'm going to put you in, and I want you to tell me how you respond to these situations.
All right.
So, this first one, the year is 1912. Okay,
Hmm.
long time ago.
So you know what happened in that year?
What?
Well, you know that happened in the 1912s through like 1920.
What?
Oh my God! All right.
What
Continue.
happened?
It's World War One.
Oh, that's not where I'm going with this.
Okay.
I didn't. That's when World War One was.
Yes, it was 1914 to 1920.
So this is 2 years before the war.
Yeah.
All right, it's 2 years before the war. You decide you're going to go on a vacation, right?
Hell yeah. Hmm.
You go on this vacation. You know what you
I'm
did.
going to the border of Germany and Russia.
You know where you know what this vacation is.
What?
You went on a cruise.
Ooh.
So you're on a cruise. It's 1912. You're walking
Mhm.
down the hallway of your ship, and all of a sudden, bam! You hit the wall. Your ship just hit an iceberg. You're on the Titanic. What are you gonna do?
Okay. Well, I wouldn't know that the ship would be capable of sinking because this is like the unbreakable ship. So the first thing I'd do is probably just go back to my room. And do I have a phone
I
in my
mean,
room?
it's 1912, so no.
I mean, okay.
They didn't have phones in 1912.
They did. Um,
No, they didn't.
yes, they did.
What you mean, like a little beep, 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 beep?
Let's see when.
Little Morse code?
I did, well, they obviously had that, but I'm pretty sure they had phones.
They did not have phones in
Um,
1912.
let's see.
We didn't have cell phones until like the 90s, and you think they had
That's cell
phones?
phones. That's cell
Yeah,
phones.
yeah, but you think they had phones on a ship?
Well, phones were invented in 1876. So by 1912, it makes sense that they'd be in standard use.
But on a ship? We're not talking about like two tin cans with a string between them, and you're like talking to your neighbor.
Let's see.
Now,
Did
let's see.
Titanic have phones?
Could you type any louder?
I have to make sure it's for the dramatic effect. Um, let's see. They had a master and slave setup for all clocks on board. I don't know what that means. There were 4 elevators on Titanic, and few first-class cabins had telephones.
But where could they call? Like, was it like
Anywhere on
a
the ship. Anywhere on the ship.
Okay, so that's not that's that's not what we're talking about here.
Well, that's what I was talking about. Am I in
Oh,
first
you're
class?
talking about you're going to call somebody else on the ship?
Yeah, I was gonna call the service, just whatever whoever I knew to call, see what's going on.
Oh, you made it sound like you were going to like go like call home or something.
No,
That's what I thought you were talking about.
no.
So we just did all that for nothing.
Well, no, because am I in first class or not?
Um, no, you're not in first class. You're a peasant.
Well, how did I get on the Titanic if I'm a peasant? What?
They, I don't know. You snuck on the Titanic.
I'm sorry.
You're like a stowaway.
All right, all right. So I'm a stowaway.
Okay, no.
Um,
You were like it was like a business trip, and you were like somebody's kid that had a business, and you just somehow got like scooped into the trip.
okay,
So you couldn't actually like you can't really afford to be there. You're just kind of there.
all right. Well, seeing how I'm from the streets, apparently, I use my instincts, and I recognize that we're all gonna die, and whoever has the most food is gonna be at the top of the pyramid. So I'm gonna try and sneak into the larder.
Into the what?
I'm assuming it's probably where the food's being stored.
The
Yeah,
kitchen?
that's where they make food, prepare it. There'd be somewhere they store the food.
The fridge?
There's not just one fridge to hold. There might be like a massive, storage unit with
refrigeration room.
yeah, essentially, cold storage.
But what did you call it?
A larder. Larders. I think that's more of
A
a
larder?
medieval term. Yeah.
That sounds like where you go to murder people. That's what that sounds like. Like, oh, take them to the larder. And then they do off with the head.
I mean, maybe there's dual purpose. I don't know.
So you're going to go there and then what?
Steal all the food
And take it where?
to some place no one will find me. So like a cargo hold.
Okay, so you're still not addressing the fact that you're sinking into the ocean.
No. The ship won't sink, but it's gonna go in anarchy.
The ship?
As I'm assuming. Mm-hmm.
You're sinking into the ocean.
This is a
And
Titanic.
yeah,
sink.
it's sinking. It's
gonna
Titanic. It's sinking into the ocean. You're telling me you're gonna go get a bunch of food and hide somewhere.
In my mind, this boat's not sinking. It's just gonna be stuck in the ocean for a while, and eventually we're gonna start running out of food. And that means people are gonna get desperate. The wealthy are gonna come to me first.
I don't think they're not worried about food. The whole ship is like underwater in like 6 hours.
I don't know that. This is the Titanic. It's unsinkable.
So you're saying, what do you think's happening then?
I think that this ship probably got like damaged, and it's not going to be able to move for I don't know, maybe days or weeks, and we're going to be stuck in the ocean, which means that people are going to start to run out of food. And since I have all the food, I have all the power.
Okay, so that's what's going on in your mind. But once the water starts coming in, then what?
Well,
What do you do then? You're sitting in your closet like eating your like snack cakes or
no,
Pringles or whatever it is that you stole from the kitchen, and then all of a sudden you just start filling up full of water.
Actually, I'd be admiring all the jewelry I've gotten from trading, sandwiches to the rich people in exchange for
You act like this is like
valuables.
you act like this is like a 6-month endeavor. This is like a few hours from the time you hit the iceberg to the time you're underwater.
Nah.
Hold on, let me figure out. I don't know offhand how long it took the Titanic to sink.
I think it's like 6 hours.
Take a guess, but don't look it up. Take a guess before I pull it up.
All right, I'm gonna say. What do you mean, like to the point where there was no ship left? It was underneath the water.
Yeah, that's what sunk means.
Well, also you could have said when by the time everyone was dead.
No, not everyone did. Just the ship is under the water.
I'm gonna say 8 hours.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. So you just wasted about half of that going around collecting food to hide inside of a closet.
Nah.
So you have no other supplies, and you're in this closet with a bunch of food, and then the water starts coming in. Now what?
I'm gonna make my way to the life raft.
But you can't get on the life raft. The life raft's only for women and children.
I am a child, as you said.
No.
I'm the kid of some businessman.
No.
All right, fine.
You're the friend. You're the like estranged friend of the businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And he just invited you so graciously on this trip.
All right. Well, I would tell the people in the ship that's it's boarding that I identify as a woman, and therefore I.
That doesn't work in 1812 or 1912.
That's what you think.
That does not work. That's when they take you and they go, oh, okay, you're a witch, and they throw you off into the ocean.
A witch, yeah.
You think they're gonna listen to this crazy guy? Everyone's about to die, and they're gonna listen to you like, I identify as a woman. No, they're gonna shoot you in the head and throw you off the ship.
Well, I mean, the captain got on. The captain got on the life raft and made his escape.
Okay, he's the captain. He's important.
The captain's the ones that, if anyone's supposed to die with the ship, it's the captain. That they take an oath.
To die with the ship?
Yes.
I mean, I guess it does kind of make sense. It's like you got us in this mess.
Your responsibility. Yeah. You're either going to save the ship or die drying.
Kind of off topic, not off topic, but like kind of sidetrack. Did you see that they're trying to remake the Titanic?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
And I don't know if they're actually going to do it, but that's like,
a Titanic too.
yeah, like the worst idea ever. Like, why would you ever remake that ship? And then more importantly, who would ever get on it?
Yeah,
'Cause it,
it's a good idea.
like they're gonna build it again. They're gonna be like, well, this one won't sink, and everyone's gonna be like, I've heard this one before. You got us last time.
Mhm.
What would be bad is if like the I guess it'd be like great grandkids or something of people that died on the original Titanic got on the Titanic 2, and then like that one sunk. That you'd have two like generations of people that all died on Titanic. That'd be horrible.
It'd be pretty ironic.
So, all right, you don't get on a life raft. They won't let you on.
Well, I'd find a way on.
All right.
If it's like being lowered into the water, I'm just gonna jump off the ship and land on it. As I can.
You're just gonna like kamikaze yourself onto the life raft.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so so you get on the life raft, right?
Mm-hmm.
The life raft starts to sink.
How does that happen?
It's got a hole in it. Whenever you jumped on it, you popped a hole in it.
What kind of life raft? What is this thing about? Like
They're not made for impact.
they're life rafts.
Yeah, but they're not made for impact.
They're supposed to be able to survive on the ocean, on the open ocean, and yet they can't handle some 130-pound person landing on it.
Well, you said you're gonna jump off, so like, I mean, 130 pounds. If you jump from like 50 feet, that's a lot of impact.
50. I'm not gonna jump 50 feet. I'm gonna jump as it's being lowered, like 13 feet.
Where'd you pull that number from? 13 feet.
Well, yeah. I guess it's being lowered down.
So are you saying that these people? Okay, so this is what the picture you're trying to paint. You're up here, up on top of the ship, right? And then there's all these people in this life raft, and you think they're just gonna like just float there in the water and just wait for the ship to start sinking down, and then they're just gonna let you just jump right onto their life raft.
They're not floating. They're not in the water yet. It's being lowered down.
What are you talking about?
The life raft's not in the ocean. It's on the ship. It's suspended above the deck, and they lower it down into the water.
Right.
And that's why
it's already gonna be in the water.
No, it's way off the water.
How?
It's just being. There's a massive distance between the deck of the ship and the ocean.
Right. Whenever they see that it's sinking, they're going to start lowering they're going to put all the people in the boats and then lower them into the water.
But that's I'm going to jump on not when it's in the water.
So you're going to jump on like as soon as they start to lower it, and then you're just going to ride it all the way down into the water.
Yeah.
And then they're going to push you off.
Well, it just detaches and floats off.
No, the people are going to push you off.
No.
Are you going to fight them?
I'm pretty scrappy.
This is so stupid.
All right,
so even better. All right, so let's say you don't get on a life raft somehow, even though you tried whatever, you don't get on one.
All right.
And then, what's that girl's name? Rose?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're fake, but yeah.
Okay, so you see, you're in the water now, and you see Rose out there floating on her piece of wood. Are you gonna go push her off her piece of wood so that you can get on it?
To be honest, in that movie, that Rose is so fucking selfish. Like, she was on this massive raft that could easily support both of them, and she just lets him die.
That's how it is.
No.
It's just like, oh, sorry, there's enough room, but you just can't get up here. You just gotta die in the water.
No, there was enough room for both of them, honestly.
Oh, I know. I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just like, get on, peasant, die. She's like,
so
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just jump on there with her, and if she starts, trying to push me off, I'll just shove her off and start paddling away.
You know what I would do?
Mm-hmm.
I would start getting up on the wood, And then if she like for what it like was like no, like get off or whatever, then I would just break off a piece that was big enough for me to get on, and then I would just go my separate way. And then I would probably float back over to her and like snap her piece in half so she sinks. Like, sorry, bye. And then I'd just float away.
That's how you do it.
Like, this is what you get for being selfish. You should have let me on. How much time do you think that? How long do you think you would survive in that cold water?
Like maybe an hour.
An hour?
Yeah, probably. It's freezing cold water.
I think you'd be dead way faster than an hour.
I'd be hanging on for your life.
I think you'd be dead in like 20 minutes.
20 minutes? That's not much time.
And freezing cold water, when you're all panicky.
When you're on a life raft,
You're not on the life raft. You're in the water.
Oh, I'm in the water.
Yeah, you're in the water.
Okay, then like 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah, you can only paddle for so long, especially in cold water.
You can paddle for a while.
No, you can't.
Well, it's also the ocean. It's real salty, so you're gonna float real easy.
No. That's a common misconception. You will not last that long.
You can float pretty good.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You can't float on your back?
That works in pools. In the open ocean, the waves are going to throw you off balance constantly.
Well, not if it's all frozen.
It's not what? You're not in the Arctic. You're not on Antarctica.
They're hitting icebergs, so it is frozen.
No, that's just one giant piece of ice. The entire ice around it. The ship's not breaking through ice. It just there happens to be an iceberg randomly floating around they hit into.
How do you
They're
know?
not at because everyone knows that.
Were you there?
They're not at Antarctica.
Were you there?
Well, that's your argument now.
So I mean, if you weren't there, how do you know?
Mm-hmm. Let's just throw all history out the window except for the history that we personally lived through.
I'm down. Let's go.
Bet. All right.
All the history that happened before I was born, gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so down for that. That way, I don't even have to learn that much. And I've already experienced it, so I already know.
Yep. Makes it easier for people like
Dude,
you.
well, hold on. Do we get rid of 2020? Because 2020 should be erased.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So erase everything from before. I can erase everything from before I was born and 2020. 2020 needs to go.
Yeah.
All right. So on the Titanic, you're pretty much dead, whether you want to admit it or not.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
My next. I just got something in my eye. Oh no. I don't even know what's going on. All right, I think I'm good. I think I'm going to live. All right, next question.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait for this answer. All right, you have to make Gordon Ramsay one meal. What are you going to make him to try to impress him?
I don't know how to make anything but cheap food.
I know. That's why I can't wait for the answer. What are you going to make him, like a microwave pizza?
I don't use microwave. The microwave makes it feel like plastic. Or just, it tastes like plastic.
Oh, so are you gonna make him a little personal pizza inside the oven?
Nah, it doesn't require any skill. Like he'd recognize that requires absolutely nothing I do requires skill. Actually,
You think he'd recognize that?
He's Gordon Ramsay.
I think he'd probably throw it in your face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So, what are you gonna make?
I don't even know.
Okay, let's say, what would you try to make that you think you could make, and halfway impress him?
I can make a couple things, but like, I can't make anything I can't make anything impressive. I can make all the bare minimum, easy to make things.
Like what?
I can make ramen noodles. I can make scrambled eggs, sandwiches, anything that you can make on your own without having any kind of like person telling you how to do it. You just learn how to do it through YouTube videos. I know how to do.
How many YouTube videos have you learned about how to cook?
Um,
Did you learn how to cook eggs from YouTube?
I tried to, and then so the YouTube video. This is what happened. YouTube video tells me to put butter on the pan, so like to like spread it around. And so I do the same thing. I put butter on the pan, and then it says that after the butter's been spread around the pan, you heat it up. So I do the same thing, put butter in the pan, heat it up, and I turn around to go get I turn around to get something, and then I hear, and I look back and the pan's on fire. There's just flames coming up to the pan, and so I first thing I do is I take the rag.
You had too much heat on it.
Yeah, I know. Now I know. I didn't think it would catch fire after like 3 seconds.
So what'd you do with the rag?
I just hit it with
You hit it with a rag?
Yeah, and it worked. I mean, it set it out.
So
I see like
so the pan's on fire, and you're like whipping it with a rag.
Yeah,
Just like bad pan, bad.
it worked. It put the fire out.
Did the rag catch on fire?
No, the rag was wet.
Did you get the rag wet, or was it already wet?
It was already wet.
And all you had was butter?
Yeah.
How'd you set butter on fire?
I don't know. It caught fire in like 3 seconds.
Because I've left butter in a pan before, and I think it just like evaporated or something. I don't think it caught on fire.
Well, see, I put the thing on the highest setting.
So you put it on the highest setting, and then how much butter did you put in there?
Not much. Like, I didn't use a whole stick. I just used like a little piece that big, and just spread it around.
Like a quarter of a stick?
No, probably like a sixth of a stick.
That's still a lot of butter.
Nah.
That's like a piece of butter like this big.
Yeah.
That's a lot of butter. And you put
I didn't know that.
You put it on a high heat, and it just. Whoa.
Yeah.
So then, what'd you do after that?
Well, the fire set off smoke alarms, and then I opened the door. My mom was home at the time, so and I don't think she ever even got out because I managed to air the place out, and I get the smoke alarm stopped, and just
What house was this in?
It was in our apartment.
The first apartment when I first came to visit you guys.
Yeah.
The one that was in like the real bad spot.
No, it was one we did the podcast in.
Oh, it was in that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that one was actually nice. And you tried to burn it down.
See, like it was interesting because like.
Were all the fire alarms like connected?
Yeah. So all of them were out. And that screen door, that's what I opened up to just air out the place.
Would you do just like, where you just like had to just open the door and you're just sitting there like, well, I hope the smoke leaves? Because there was no fan or anything.
No, I had the rag and I was just trying to like, fan it out with the rag.
I would pay good money to have this on video, to see you light a pan of butter on fire and then start beating it with a rag. And then I could see you now standing by the back door, just like trying to just wave all the smoke out of the door.
I was just going off instincts, And like, I got the idea to use the rag. Like, I remember back to like, what should I do when there's a fire? And I don't have a fire extinguisher, and water's not a good idea.
There was a fire extinguisher in there, by the way.
Well, I didn't know where it was. And then I thought, the first thing came to mind was that Drake and Josh episode where Josh set a pan of brownies on fire.
When he set one on fire?
I think it was a pan of brownies on fire. And he used a rag to put it out. That's what I did. So
Drake and Josh saved not just your life, everybody in the whole unit's life.
Yeah. They're making like they used to, honestly.
That's such a you story. You would set something on fire and have to use something you learned from Drake and Josh to put it out.
Yeah.
So what else?
That's a Gen Z thing, honestly.
I don't even. Are you Gen Z?
Yes.
I thought you were whatever's after Gen Z.
There's nothing after Gen C.
Really?
Not yet, I don't think.
So so what else have you learned? What else did you have to learn to cook from YouTube? And what other catastrophes did you have? Because I know
Let's
that
see.
wasn't the only one.
I think I learned how to do pancakes from YouTube as well.
Did you
Um,
watch my video about how to make pancakes? Is that how you learned?
no, no. Um, I almost said it. I can't think of this right now.
But so you learned pancakes from YouTube?
Yeah,
Did those go smoothly?
yeah, yeah. No problem.
Like you just everything just went the way it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of find that hard to believe.
So I don't have that many stories of me like lighting the place on fire.
You didn't burn the pancakes or nothing.
No,
Hmm.
I'm a good chef as long as you know.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I am I am I am.
I think now you're starting to push it.
I worked in the kitchen over
A
the summer.
a good a pizza kitchen.
We had a bunch of stuff.
That's not a chef.
No, we had more than pizza. We had a lot of stuff.
I worked at a pizza place too, but I can't. I'm not a
You were
chef.
you were a delivery man.
I did both. I cooked them and delivered them.
All right. Well, in my place, we made so we had chili, tacos, hot dogs, hamburgers. We had obviously pizzas. We had what was that thing called? It was this weird dish I've never heard of before. I think it was some kind of Jamaican dish.
Vegetables?
No, I forget what it was called. It was some weird name.
Something you never heard of?
I don't remember the name of it.
No, I'm saying vegetables is a dish you never heard of.
Yeah.
And but how much effort did you have to put into making this stuff?
Well, I did most of it. I knew how to make every item we have on the menu,
No, I
and we
mean
made a lot.
like no, I mean I'm talking about like when someone ordered something, did
Yeah.
like was it just you just like throw this and this and this together and then put it in an oven and then it's done?
Some things we had to make ourselves. Like sometimes I'd have to dice a couple things together and put them together in a like. I'd have to dice up some meats and some. I had to get some spices and put them together in a certain order. Have some layers to it.
Ooh, you're just a culinary wizard.
I mean, it was simple stuff, but yeah.
I don't even remember where I was going with this. Because you said you were like some chef or something.
I'm a good chef.
What would you? You can't even make anything besides.
Yeah.
You said ramen, eggs. What else?
That's all. That's pretty much all I eat.
That's all you can make.
I can make more than that.
What can you make?
Well, I can make anything we had in the kitchen.
No,
So it's
I'm talking about like. Well, okay. How much stuff is that?
so that's 6 menu items. I think. Yeah, 6 or 7 items.
Okay, so that's 9 items. You can only make 9 stuff.
I suppose.
Okay, so out of these 9 things, which one are you going to make for Gordon Ramsay? Which one of these 9 things do you think you can make the most impressively?
I do something simple that it would be hard to mess up if I do it right. You just say good enough, you know. I'd probably just do eggs, scrambled eggs.
Would that be your goal? Is to make it just like just make him not throw it in your face?
Yeah, just like something that's simple enough to where like he can't get on me about like the finesse. Just something that's simple enough I can do well enough to him be like, I mean, it's a plate of ram eggs. I mean, have scrambled eggs. There's not a lot of places to go wrong.
So I'm assuming that you've never seen the video of Gordon Ramsay telling somebody how to make scrambled eggs.
I don't think so.
Because there is a video of this, and he's instructing a guy how to make scrambled eggs, and it was like unlike any scrambled egg that I've ever seen in my life. And he just like screamed the whole time, and the guy did everything wrong. Like he was like he had to crack it a certain way, and he wasn't stirring it the right way, and there was like 10 different things he had to add to it. Like the guy like everything that I've known about scrambled eggs, all wrong.
Yeah. Well, Gordon Ramsay probably doesn't make scrambled eggs in the same way anyone would make scrambled eggs. You know, like he probably uses more than just salt and pepper.
Oh yeah, way more than salt and pepper.
Yeah,
There was like I think he added some type of like cream to it, and then like milk,
that's
and
too
then
much.
like some
I mean,
type
I
of
had milk with mine, but
you what?
I had milk with mine, but
Also, you're almost there.
hmm I could probably make something that he would. I mean, he'd still probably call me out for being, extremely simple and not having any idea what spices are. But I don't think
You'd be
he'd
like,
be.
I'm gonna put this this green stuff on here, and then I'm gonna put this green stuff on here, and yeah, we're just gonna mix it up.
No, I just put salt and pepper on it, and he'd probably criticize me for that, for being so base and just being so simple. As most Americans are, like not even know what the spices are.
What is this? Salt and pepper? That's all? And then you get wham.
That's what Americans are known for. Like the international music community makes fun of us for because we use salt and pepper. Like those are our spices, and we use nothing else.
I mean, what else do you want?
I mean, there's like hundreds of other spices that you can use, but like we just don't use any of them.
I mean, there's definitely places that are more bland than us.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Honest. I think we probably had the most bland, uninteresting food there is.
Oh, well, what I'm gonna tell you is gonna change your mind. The
Mm-hmm.
I know this girl that I used to work at the pizza place with. That I don't know where she works. She does something with oil or something, and she spent some time, I think like a month or something, in Iraq, and or Afghanistan, one of the two, one of the Middle East, and she was like had to like train them how to like use certain pieces of equipment to like look for oil or whatever, and they had like a little like a camp where like they stayed with the locals, and she said that everything they cooked was just all bland, no like not a single
Well,
seasoning at all.
obviously, if it's going to be in some random camp, it's not going to be up to the standards as like a restaurant, like a proper restaurant in the Middle East.
I mean, that's how all the food is there. It's just all bland.
I mean, it's probably hard to find a nice restaurant in the Middle East, but
She
if you
said, I
did
think
find
she
one,
said that everything was just like chicken. I think she said pretty much everything was just like bland chicken and white rice with
yeah,
with nothing else. That's it.
but yeah, because it's like one of the poorest places in the world.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't have anything to do with it. I was
but
just
it's still,
saying that there's places that are more bland than us.
well, I mean, that's an extreme case. You're comparing America, the world superpower, to one of
The
the
what?
most,
The what?
one of the world superpower.
The world's superpower?
Yeah,
How are we the world's superpower?
we have the most oil reserves in the world. Our economy is one of the strongest in the world by quite a bit. We have the strongest military in the world by quite a lot. And the vast majority of the world's media, like movies, art, well, not art, but music. Most media comes from the U.S.
What about Bollywood?
Well, that's like that's their India, pretty much. Like India is obviously huge, and they still watch a lot of American stuff, though.
Well, yeah, because we're the greatest.
Well, in terms of media, like we have almost a monopoly on movies.
Do we really?
Oh yeah, very few places can compete with Hollywood movies.
Well, that is true. I mean, especially if you look at the CGI that we have.
Yeah.
Some places are still over there like beep, 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 beep.
hmm
All right, so you're making scrambled eggs. Final
Yeah.
answer.
hmm
Why wouldn't you try to make like a steak or something
I feel like there's too much to go wrong with, and
with a
there's too
steak?
much. If I feel like if I tried to do anything to like anything that would make the steak, any more than just like the most basic steak could possibly make, I might mess it up. And so like it wouldn't be messed up to me, but it'd be messed up to him.
Well, that is true because you'd have to have it like whatever he likes, like medium
Yeah.
rare, whatever.
Yeah.
You'd probably give him like a well done steak, and he'd just like cut it open and it's like cooked all the way through. He'd be like, "What is this? Wham!" All right, if you had to get stung or bitten by one animal, which one would it be?
Stung or bitten by an animal.
Yeah.
It's
It has to
kind
be,
of
well, as a little side note, it has to
okay.
be like when you get bitten by something or stung, well, obviously stung, but bitten, it's got to be something that has some type of venom. So you
Oh,
can't,
it has to. It has to be like venomous in some way.
yeah, it can't, like, you can't get bit by like a, something small that's like a dog, like, or something. You can't do that.
Hmm. So what's this is just like the least dangerous venomous thing I can get bit by.
The
Um,
least dangerous?
so you're asking me like if I had to be bit by something, I'm gonna obviously choose the least dangerous.
But which one's that?
Um, just the bee, I guess. Bee stings are toxic. Toxic. They have toxic in them.
Yeah, just a regular bee. I mean, that's kind of the cheap way out.
Yeah.
What if you're getting paid?
Paid in the more intense it is, the more I get paid.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now you're making me out sound like uh, what's Wile E. Coyote? Not Wile E. Coyote. What? Who's that guy? The Coyote guy? He
Cody
gets stung a
Peterson.
lot. Yeah. Wile E. Coyote. Uh,
Yeah, I was wondering where are you going with this? Yeah, Cody Peterson. He gets stung by all the stuff.
yeah, and he gets paid for it. YouTube,
Yeah. So
Um, hmm.
his just to give you if you want to compare it to what he did, his most viewed sting is by the cow killer bee.
How much do I get paid for like something like the calculator?
Hmm, what do you think it's worth?
Um, I definitely would if it's something that's gonna put me on the ground, and the amount of pain it's gonna put me in. I'm gonna need it to be at least like a couple $10,000. Like $20,000.
You're definitely gonna be on the ground in pain
Yeah,
because whenever Cody Peterson did it, he was like rolling around on the ground, like hyperventilating and like drooling.
yeah. I'd probably do something that would like not put me on the ground like it does to him, but something that'd be enough to like be the most painful thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I'd probably do it for like a couple $1,000, a couple of $10,000.
A couple $10,000.
Yeah, like tens of thousands of dollars. It have to be.
So okay, so what about the worst one? Whatever that would be.
What would that be? I probably just wouldn't do it honestly.
What if it was $100,000?
No, honestly, because the worst one would probably be like Cobra.
No, I'm talking about you're not something that's gonna kill you. Like
No,
say the worst one that he's done, which I don't remember which one was at the top, but it was.
there's some bad ones.
Let's just go. Let's just say. Oh, what is that one? It's not a. Oh, and I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't remember what the name of it is. But it's like I think it starts with it's like a fire or something maybe. Once I look it up, I'll see it. Because it's somewhere.
Time to get eaten alive by catfish.
It's somewhere in like South Africa or something. The bullet ant. That's what it is. Bullet ant.
Bullet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know I know that. I know that one.
Yeah.
Let me see that. How big is that thing again? Oh yeah.
Oh, it's pretty big.
Yeah. To get stung by that thing, you have to be like. It'd probably be like $100,000.
100,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go with that.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I'd do it for 100,000.
Yeah. I mean, that's $100,000. That's like 2 years of salary for most jobs.
I mean, it's a lot of pain, but it's
It's a lot of pain for a short little bit for a lot of money.
it would be well. I think it's like about a week of pain.
A week?
Yeah.
I can do a week of that. Exchange for,
Because I think he said, if I remember right, I think he said that because always does it in his arm. I think he said his arm, like the really bad pain went away after like a few hours, but I think he said his arm like ached or something for like a week or two afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get down with $100,000. I can do that. I wouldn't like it. It really, really, really suck.
Yeah. But that's like a down payment on a house, you know.
I mean, I could buy a house.
What? Yeah, a nice house. Be a down payment on.
Well, what kind of house are you trying to buy?
I want a mansion, but I want I don't want a trailer park, you know. I don't want a trailer home.
Trailers aren't that expensive.
I don't want one. I want like a proper house.
You can get a trailer for like $20,000.
I'm aware.
What, have you been looking at them?
Well, I know that trailers are cheap. I don't want a trailer home.
You what?
I don't want a trailer home. I want a proper house.
Why don't you get like 4 trailers and put them together?
Yeah, just make up the cost of a real house.
Just what?
Make up the cost of a real house with trailers.
Yeah, just like connect them all together. So then you just have like all these. You just have like a whole maze of house.
Yeah, like a colony.
I'd do that. Put them all.
Why not?
Put them all end to end. So you just have like one like stupid long hallway with a bunch of rooms. So you have like a 300-foot hallway.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh wow, look at that. All right. Next thing, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever? This one's like really messed up. Have you ever heard of Foxconn?
Maybe.
Well, Foxconn is the the name of the company in China that manufactures iPhones. And this is the messed up part. At this warehouse, like if you Google this, you can see it. But at this warehouse, outside of the Foxconn building, they have nets all around the building because people jump out of the building so much to kill themselves that they had to put nets up to catch all the bodies.
That might be a sign. That you need to change.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You would it's such a bad place to work that people are literally hurling themselves out of the windows to get out of there.
Yeah.
And what's even worse, as sad as that is, what's even worse is that after a bunch of people jumped out of the windows before the nets, their solution wasn't like, oh, let's see how we can change the working environment or make things better. Let's just put nets up to catch them.
Yeah.
That's their solution.
I mean, if you're Chinese, I'm sure that's a decent solution. It's better than having to go through a massive, expensive program.
Like what kind of meeting was that? They're like, all right, Jim. I'm sure their name's not Jim. They're like, all right, Jim. We've had 30 people jump out of the window this week. Well, put a net up. And I looked this up, but I couldn't find it. I want to know so now that they have the nets, if you jump out of the window and then you land on the net, do they just go get you and put you back to work? Or do they send you home for the day?
Are you sure? Is it net is it the net they have at circuses to catch trapeze artists, or is it a net over the window so you cannot physically?
No, it's like a net, like a trapeze net. In the picture, if you Google the picture, there'll be 2 buildings, and then from the middle of the building, from one end to the other end, it'll just be a big net.
That seems a bit absurd. Why don't you just put nets over the windows themselves to stop people from jumping out at all?
Because people could cut them, and then just jump out.
I guess
people are hurling themselves at such a high rate they had to put a trapeze style net to catch everybody.
That's interesting.
Google it. Google Foxconn nets or whatever. You'll see there's a bunch of pictures, but there's there's like a network of buildings that's just all nets, like 5 or 6 buildings just netted together.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna pull
That's
it up.
that's a statement right there. Could you
Yeah,
imagine like
you think?
trying to like? Could you imagine like being a diplomat and you come to China and you're just walking around the streets and you see these massive nets everywhere, and you ask them and you're like, "What are these nets for? Like, is there some kind of like is there an insect problem or like is that just some cultural thing?" It's like, "Oh no, that's to catch people from stop them from suiciding." You know,
Yeah. Are you looking at the one that's got the yellow net between the 2 buildings?
yeah.
Yeah. So just like that's so like somebody just jumps out of these windows. And then they're just like, all right, get off. Like, I imagine, like, the management goes outside, and they're just like, all right, get off the net. We realize that our working environment's so bad you want to die, but just come on back. They probably give them, like, a little bit of coffee or something, and they're just like, all right, now get back on the line. Let's have a pizza party to kind of boost the morale.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, they give everybody safety knives and forks.
They what?
Safety knives and forks. Just like blunt ones.
They have, like, the, they give them, like, sporks that just have, like, the tiniest little tiny points on them.
Yeah.
There's probably people at lunch that are just like trying to like jam their eyes out, like, get me out of here. And then they probably have another meeting. They're like, all right, we're going to have to go to foam forks. Because our working environment's just so bad, but we can't fix it. We're just going to just nerf everything.
Yeah. Could you imagine being human resources at a place like that?
They don't have human resources.
I mean, if you did have human resources,
Their human resources, they were the ones that put the net up.
Yeah.
They're like, the management probably went to the people. They're like, hey, people are jumping out of these windows like a lot. And they go, well, just put up a net. And then we can just get them off the net.
Yeah.
I wonder, you could probably find this, but I wonder what the number was. Like, how many people had to jump out of the windows before they put the net up?
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out.
I bet it's an astronomical number. That's way bigger than what you would think.
At the time, 1 million workers in its plants, there were up to 14 suicides. Pence's counting what to use. Among that 1 million. Just about 14 suicides.
Oh, that number is actually way lower than what I thought.
It's probably fake, honestly.
Well, that's true because China has to report the number. So it's probably 1,400 out of the million.
Yeah.
And then like once the CEO was like having to like dodge bodies on his way to work, he was like, "Oh man, maybe we could do something about this. We could at least put a net up so I don't have to avoid all these people while I'm driving to work."
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you have stuff about Balloon Boy. You're telling me.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know anything about Balloon Boy. So
All right.
enlighten me.
Well, Balloon Boy, this is just going to take a while to get into because this is a massive story. So I'm going to go ahead and start by reading you the Wikipedia article. The Wikipedia article itself.
Hold on. How long do you think it's going to take you to get into Balloon Boy?
It shouldn't take me maybe like an hour and a half maybe.
All right. Well, I got to pee.
All right.
All right. Fill me in on Balloon Boy.
Right. So Balloon Boy is if you look it up online, Balloon Boy comes up in a Wikipedia article called "The Balloon Boy Hoax." So when you Google search Balloon Boy, you instantly get hoax. This is something that happened way back in 2009, October 15th, and it was considered by everyone. Everyone knew that this was a hoax by the family known as the Hemi family. So this is how the Wikipedia article reads.
I like how you specify that 2009 was a long time ago.
Yes, it was. So October 15th, 2009, when a homemade helium-filled gas balloon shaped to resemble a silver flying saucer was released into the atmosphere above Fort Collins, Colorado, by Richard and Naomi Heaney. When they claimed that their six-year-old son, Falcon, was trapped inside of it, authorities confirmed the balloon reached 7,000 feet during its 90-minute flight. The event attracted worldwide attention, and Falcon was renamed the Balloon Boy in media. So National Guard helicopters and local police pursued the balloon after flying for more than an hour, approximately 50 miles. The balloon landed about 12 miles outside of, northeast outside of Denver International Airport. When Falcon was not found inside, and it was reported that an object had been seen falling from the balloon, and a search began for the boy's body because they had assumed that he had fallen out of the balloon and died.
Right.
So later that same evening, the boy was found sitting in the living room, just just chilling like nothing happened. And later that day, they found out the boy was hiding in the attic the entire time. So suspicions of a hoax began coming up. Then people were just getting suspicious of, especially since the family itself had been a family that had been on a couple of TV shows. One of them being Wife Swap, the hit reality show. So they were obviously people that liked attention, and people started calling him out for being, staging this as a publicity stunt. And that evening, there was an interview with Wolf Blitzer on the Larry King live show. And the interviewers asked the family, asked Falcon, specifically the balloon boy, why he was hiding. And Falcon turned to his father and said, this is a quote, "You guys said that we did this for the show." And the parents just kind of looked stunned. And everyone looked at that and said, that proves that this is a hoax. So Larimer County Sheriff Jim Alderton announced his conclusion that the incident was a hoax and that the parents would likely face several felony charges. On November 13th, 2009, Richard Heaney pleaded guilty to attempting to influence a public servant, and he was sentenced to 90 days in jail and ordered to pay $36,000 in restitution for the helicopters and the rescue workers and all that. And Naomi Heaney, his wife, was sentenced to 20 days of weekend jail. To this day, the Heaney family, especially Richard Heaney, maintain their innocence, even though they pleaded guilty and admitted to the hoax. To this day, they still are fighting to maintain that they had nothing to do with any hoax like that. There was no hoax; it was an accident, not a publicity stunt. So that is the story, as most people know it. That's what most people know about the Balloon Boy.
So is there? I'm assuming there's probably going to be, if I Google Balloon Boy, there's going to be like pictures of this balloon that this kid was apparently trapped into.
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
There's also Five Nights at Freddy's took the idea and made their own character out of it. So you might find that as well.
So it's like a looks like a kind of like a UFO or something.
Yeah, it looks like a spacecraft. Yeah.
Let me pull this up so everybody can see it. So the one that I'm looking at is like a Sky 9. I guess it's like a news report maybe of it or something.
Yeah, News Channel 9.
This thing looks very like. I mean, obviously it's homemade.
It is.
But it's like what is it made out of though? Like I don't know what material.
So the material is, see if I can find it here. It is, I believe, plywood. There's a very descriptive description of it. If I can find it here. Okay, so the balloon was 20 feet in diameter and was constructed using 16 pie-shaped plastic sheets, 2 rolls of duct tape, a circular plywood basket that was attached to the bottom of the balloon with wood, string, and more duct tape. And it was attached to a wooden frame on the ground.
So this is like the kind of stuff that like I do on my channel. Like,
Well, this Richard Heaney was an inventor. He was also kind of a crazy guy. Have you seen videos of Richard Heaney? He's one of those super explosive personality people on TV that are just insane. Essentially, he looks insane
right.
in all the everything you watch of him. He's super loud. He's constantly screaming at top volume, but he's extremely passionate inventor, and he makes all kinds of admittedly not very good inventions, like the back scratcher, which is essentially just a wooden post you hang on your wall and scratch your back against it like a bear. Um,
He invented that.
yeah, it's actually one of his most popular inventions. And he made I saw this, he made a fan in a plastic container that you put in your pants to cool your balls. And he called it the blowjab.
No
So
way.
yeah, yeah,
No. This
yeah.
guy. This guy knows what's going on.
Oh yeah, he's the new Thomas Edison, or not? Yeah, sure. Yeah,
He's
we'll go with that.
like a once in a lifetime inventor.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's how he makes a lot of his money. And this balloon was an experiment of his. It was supposed to use electromagnetic forces to control where the balloon moved. It wasn't supposed to fly. He was going to tether it to a wooden circular platform, and it was supposed to hover 13 feet in the air. And he was going to be able to try and control it using a Bifrost effect, I think, or something like that. Basically, you put electricity through certain parts, panels of the balloon, and it'd fly in certain directions. And his plan was to use these balloons to make a new type of sport, like balloon racing. Like you'd have multiple people make their own types of balloons, and they'd race them. And it'd be like he was going to make a TV show out of it, to, trying to get some money.
Really.
But what happened was, so before I get into that actually, so that's the story as we know it. And then on April 17th, 2017, Internet Historian, I've shown you his channel. It's one of my favorite channels.
Yeah.
He uploads a video called Balloon Boy, the Untold Story. And in this video, he basically just goes over everything I just told you. And then he starts by saying Richard Heens has been trying to claim his innocence. He's been trying to back up his claim that this Balloon Boy whole thing, it's not a hoax. It was an accident. He was starting to believe him. And he goes over his massive collection of resources, research that he did to help prove that Richard Heaney is in fact innocent. It was not a hoax. It was a genuine accident, and that the whole story is that Richard Heaney was put through an unjust system. The police system he went through was completely bogus. Like there was false pretenses, spontaneous interrogations. There was his wife was not read her rights when she was arrested, essentially, without her even knowing. She didn't know what the Fourth Amendment was, and she wasn't told that the Fourth Amendment existed. Her children were interrogated without the parents' consent, which is extremely illegal. The police were able to interrogate them by filing a report to Child Protective Services and having them brought to a place where the children would be taken care of. And they fed the caretaker interrogative questions to ask the children, which is completely illegal. Okay.
Right.
All right. So he goes over this massive list of things that just were really sketchy. And the police built this case against Richard Heaney based on 5 things. So there was the fact that the balloon couldn't lift a child, the fact that Richard Heaney called the news before he called 911.
They said that it couldn't lift a child.
No, it was physically incapable of lifting a child, according to their measurements.
Okay. What was he using what was in it to make it float?
There was a 9-volt, 3 9-volt batteries that were there was some helium inside of it, like 5 tanks worth of helium, 9-volt battery that was supposed to electrically charge the balloon to control flight, and there was a basket in the balloon that was big enough to hold a child.
Okay.
So, but the basket wasn't for holding a child, obviously. Well, maybe not obviously. We'll get into it. So they said that he called the news before he called 911. Falcon, the kid that was supposedly in the balloon.
That's the kid's name is Falcon.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But the fact that he was on live TV and said that he hid in the attic because he was told to for the show. Miami, the mother's confession, she confessed, as they say, and a guilty plea by Richard Heaney himself. So that's the case that the prosecution brought against them. That's the how they managed to get him. But here's where it gets interesting. So after the incident and people started accusing them of the hoax, the police got a warrant to search the entire Heaney house, and they went through everything. They went through computers, files, anything they could get their hands on. And after like a week of searching all this stuff, they found nothing, absolutely nothing that would prove that this was a hoax, which is really strange when you think about it. And then on top of that, the balloon that couldn't lift a child, this happened in the court case. So they came up with this thing. Richard Heaney couldn't have possibly thought that his kid was in the balloon because the balloon was not capable of lifting a child. And they brought in a professor from a nearby university to run a calculation based on the police's recording. They recorded how big the balloon was and all the information they could give the professor to figure out the balloon's potential lift. And the professor said that their recording was that the balloon was 16 feet in diameter. And the professor said that based on that information, the balloon couldn't have lifted a child. But Richard Heaney said, what he gave information that the balloon was actually 20 feet in diameter. And when the professor was asked if that could lift a child, he said, under that circumstance, yes, it could lift a child.
If it was 20 feet?
If it was 20 feet. And after the court and after Richard Heaney did his time in jail, he got the balloon and he measured the balloon. And on live video, he took a tape recorder and he took a tape measure. He took from the center of the balloon all the way to the edge, and he filmed the whole thing. You can clearly see from the center to the edge is 10 feet. So you double that, you get 20 feet. So the police lied about the size of the balloon.
Good math.
Thanks. And the historian actually breaks down all the math they used, which is pretty impressive.
Does he break down like how much the
weight, the volume,
like how much lift the helium has, like
Yep.
for 16 feet versus 20 feet or whatever?
Yep.
Because
Well, he didn't compare the two, but
what kind of confuses me, like, okay, so the balloon's 20 feet. That's like probably the width of this room that I'm in. So like that's not a huge amount of space. But like
Falcon only weighed 37 pounds.
the what?
Falcon, the kid, only weighed 37 pounds
Oh,
at the
okay.
time.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say I think it was MythBusters that did it, where they had like a bunch of balloons to lift a kid, and it was like an ungodly amount of balloons.
They were probably investigating the Larry lawn chair thing. Larry, this guy named Larry had a lawn chair that he just strapped a bunch of balloons to, and went like 16,000 feet up in the air, and then he shot some of the balloons out with an air pistol to bring himself back down to land.
That sounds so much like a Florida man story.
Yeah, but that was in 1982.
I could hear that like on the Florida news, be like, Larry had his lawn chair loaded up with balloons and took off. You know, David Blaine is getting ready to do something like that.
Really?
Yep. That's a completely sidetracked thing. But he's getting ready. He's doing something with balloons, and he's going to go up to I think 25,000 feet.
That's pretty high for balloons.
Yep. He was talking about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about how like he's trained himself to do some type of breathing exercise that's like allows him to keep his oxygen high enough to not go hypoxic at that altitude.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if the breathing exercise is going to help. But
Well, he did a video where he went up in a plane, and him and like the two pilots and like a camera guy or whatever all had pulse ox on their fingers, and he was like doing his exercise, doing his like breathing thing, and he was at like 97 to 99, and then like they would be at like in the 80s, and then like he would take his monitor off and put it on their finger, and then put theirs on his, and he was always between like 95 and 100 the whole time. He was doing, I don't forget what the exercise was that he was doing, but he was always just like, he was like just taking in a lot and like almost like hyperventilating kind of. And he's going to use that to, he's going to like hold on. He's not in a launcher. He's going to like hold on to some balloons, and like, he went through the whole thing on that podcast. He was going to like hold on to balloons and then like somehow navigate them and like land them somewhere else and something. It was whatever it was. It's never been done before.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Oh yeah.
But back to what I was saying. See, this was that was used against Richardini. That was actually filed in the evidence against Richardini, that the balloon couldn't have possibly lifted a child, and that was a hole in his story, even though that was the fake record, because we know from the video that we saw that the balloon was in fact 20 feet wide or in 20 feet diameter, and that the professor himself said that if it were 20 feet diameter, it could have lifted a child.
Right.
So that's one thing that the police lied about. Another thing is that they said that Richard Heaney called the news before he called 911, which is suspicious. But in actuality, what happened was Richard Heaney, he after the balloon took off, and he thought that he couldn't find his son, so he assumed that his son was in the balloon. He called the FFA first. That was the first people he called, because he knew that the FFA could track. They would have ways of tracking a flying object. That would be the best chance he'd have at somebody tracking down the balloon and keeping track of it and getting help.
Keeping track of his UFO that he let out.
Yeah. So and then after that, there's actually a recording of the interview, of Richard Heaney being interviewed at the police station under false pretenses, because they asked him to come down there, and so they could just speak to him, and they locked him in a room. Didn't lock him, but they brought him to a room and with an interrogator and asked him questions without an attorney, and even he actually asked for an attorney, and they denied him one, which is illegal.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like locking him up in a room. It's like, can I have water? No. Can I have an attorney? No. Food? No.
Yeah. And by this time, he had not been asleep. He hadn't slept for 52 hours straight, and he is a diabetic, and his blood sugar was like 400 something. And they made him answer questions anyway, which is also illegal.
That's like 400. You're like on the brink of going into a coma.
Yeah.
Like you're about to die.
Yeah. And in that same in the report given by the interviewer, the interrogator, during the polygraph that they were taking of him, the interrogator left a report saying that Richard Heaney attempted to fake a medical illness in order to disrupt the interrogative process, even though he proved that
diabetes.
His blood sugar, yeah. So that was a lie.
So these people were really out for this guy.
Oh yeah, because here's what happened. So, Richard Heaney's attorney actually told him that you're going to want to take this guilty plea, because this exact same judicial system, this same I think it was Fort Bryan, maybe Fort Collins. That's what Fort Collins. The same Fort Collins department had a similar case in the case of Tom Master, I think it was Tom Masters, who was convicted of murdering a woman a few years ago, and he was found guilty and sentenced to 10 years in prison, right? And then at the end of the sentencing, or him serving out his prison trial sentence, there was DNA evidence collected that exonerated him. So he was found innocent. There was DNA, forensic evidence that proved he had nothing to do with the murder, and he sued that same exact department, the one that Richard Heaney was, facing against, for like $43 million settlement. So and after the people that were involved in that trial, everyone involved in that trial got promotions, every single person, and it was found out that the people, like, they were perjuring themselves. They were giving fake evidence. They were fabricating it. They were found guilty of fabricating evidence in the past. And so his attorney tells Richard Heaney, these guys are going to fabricate evidence against you. They're not going to. They're if they don't find evidence, they're going to make evidence, and you will be found guilty. I promise you. So your best option is to take the guilty plea, because there is no fighting this. And what the prosecution did is that they threatened that if Richard Heaney didn't take a guilty plea, they'd deport his wife, Miami, because she was a Japanese national. So that, obviously.
So, but what are they gaining from this, though?
Well, like I said, in the Tim Masters case, all of them got promotions. One of them became a judge. The other one became a sheriff.
Oh, what? So these cops were probably thinking that if they made it look like they uncovered something big or something, that they would get these big promotions or whatever.
This was a high profile case, so all of them knew that if they could pull this off, it'd look good on them. They were doing it to try and climb up the rank of command. It was a political game.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So they were they were interrogating him, and and there's actually footage that Richard Heaney was given of all the interrogations, like him being interrogated, and he shows it on this separate video, the internet story, and uploaded in July 3rd, 2017. That is basically just a massive compiling of Richard Heaney's this video of Richard Heaney defending himself and providing his own evidence, and it shows the interrogation. And in that part of the interrogation, the interrogator says, so you called the FFA.
Is it an interrogation or a deposition, or is that the same thing?
No, a deposition has I think it's a mediator or a judge present, and there's attorneys present. This was just an interrogation. There was no attorney. So the interrogator asked him, so you called the FFA first, and then you called who? And Richard Heaney said, my wife Miami called 911, and as she was calling 911, she doesn't speak much English. She's made fun of her accent a lot, and she was crying, so they could barely understand her, and she got put on hold 3 times in 20 minutes. And so after he realized that, he called the news. He asked them if they can get a helicopter. So he called the FFA. His wife called 911, and after 20 minutes, he called Channel 9 News. And the police came out with a statement that said that Richard Heaney called the FFA, Channel 9 News, and then 911. So the police department is solely responsible for the media thinking that he called Channel 9 News before he called 911, because they lied.
Just try to make themselves look good.
Yeah, or trying to make them look bad, because they were desperate for evidence, because they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any proper evidence. The only thing they had was the Kid Falcon saying that we did this for a show, one live interview.
Right.
And so they after that they got that, they lied about that. Then they got his wife Miami. They went to her home, and they essentially arrested her. Didn't read her rights, or they were never read to her. They didn't, they didn't tell her that she was being arrested. She didn't know anything, because she's a Japanese national. She didn't even know that she had rights. And obviously, you have to read your rights when you're arrested,
right?
Because which they didn't. So that's all. That's also illegal.
Like a big no-no.
Big bad no-no. So they took her down. Also under false pretenses. They didn't say they'd be interrogating her, and yeah, they did. And they also made another. I think it was promises of leniency. The false promises of leniency. They were telling her that they're gonna do. The interrogator says, as long as you tell the truth, I'm gonna be able to take what you say, and I'm gonna be able to mix it in with what we know, and that'll make you look better. And there's a better chance that you can get out of this, which she obviously doesn't have the power to do, but she doesn't know that. So false promises of leniency, one video, So there's that as well against the police department. It's another thing you can't do. It's very illegal.
This is not making this police department look very good.
Oh no, because the police department's not good. It's a lot of people are crying out for the police department, like the people to be arrested and charged with perjury and undue process and that sort of thing.
As they should be.
Yeah. So then in that same interrogation with Mayumi, they get her confession. So the police, there's two different things. There's a statement, and there is what Mayumi actually said on camera, and the two don't align at all. So Mayumi, like one of the things that is really damning, the interviewer and interrogator said that, so you knew that Falcon was in the house. Did you know that he was in the attic? And she says, yes. Now, obviously, she doesn't speak much English, so she doesn't know what he just asked. He asked her a loaded question. Did you know that he was not? You knew that he was not in the house? Did you know he was in the attic? She says yes. It's unclear what she's saying yes to, because he gave her a loaded question, even though she can't speak very good English.
But all he needs is for her to say yes.
All he needs, and that's exactly. And he released a statement where, like, in his statement, he said, I forget exactly what he said, something along the lines of, "I asked her if she knew that if her son was in the attic," in which she said yes. So there's that.
That's so bad, because that's not even trying to figure out like what happened. That's just trying to like push your agenda.
Yeah, exactly. So on top of that, that obviously, so Mayumi's confession is obviously, that's not a proper confession at all. That's just him leading her and her accidentally saying something that she doesn't mean to say. He also asked her if this was a hoax, which she said yes to, because she didn't understand what the word hoax mean. He never defined the word hoax, by the way, in the entire interview. He never actually gives a definition for the word hoax. He just asks her, "Was this a hoax?" And she just kind of gives a confused yes. And he takes it and runs. And he says, he actually, in his statement, he says, "I explicitly asked her if this was a hoax," which she responded with, "Yes, it was a hoax." And he quotes her. He says, he literally quotes her in her saying something that she just didn't say.
And this woman her first language is Japanese?
Japanese. She barely speaks any English. You can, like, when she's speaking, you can barely understand her.
And from Japanese to English, I mean, that's hard to go back and forth between the two.
And they didn't give her an interpreter, which you have to do.
And especially with a word like hoax, hoax probably doesn't even exist in the Japanese language.
Well, obviously it doesn't. It's not a Japanese word.
Well, I mean, they don't. I'm saying they probably don't even have like an equivalent.
I mean, they probably have an equivalent, but nothing like specific enough to be. There's no exact equivalent, probably.
Like to them, it's probably like they would probably just put like, I don't even know what they would replace it with, like joke or something.
Yeah, it'd probably be like fake event or something like that.
Yeah.
But so that's their confession. They call out the window, and there's the guilty plea. Richard Heenan's admitting his guilt, which he only admitted to it because he knew that if he fought the system, they'd fabricate evidence, and then Mayumi would get deported, and he'd be facing years in prison. So there'd be no one to look after his kids.
Right.
So that leaves us with the police having one solid piece of evidence: Falcon's slip up. And what Falcon said was, "You told me that this was for the show."
Well, hold on a minute. This kid's only 35 pounds?
For 37 pounds. He was like 6 at the time.
Really? That's a small 6-year-old.
Yeah.
But even at 6, like, you don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on.
Like, you can't interview a 6-year-old. Like, a 6-year-old could say anything. You can't take that.
Yeah.
6-year-old, like, they make up all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take what a 6-year-old said and be like, guilty.
Yeah. Now that's pretty much where the Internet Historians thing ends. But I did some of my own research, and by research I mean I looked up Balloon Boy Not a Hoax and took the first thing that came up. So this is an article.
So you did that high quality research.
Oh yeah, I think I could probably give Internet Historian a run for his money, honestly. So this was an article published in October 2019. by the 5280 Denver Miles High magazine by Robert Sanchez. And it pretty much goes through everything I just told you, everything we already know, but it adds something new to the story that I didn't know about. This is something that this came out after Internet Historian's video. And it was that the Robert Sanchez spent a while, just obviously he spends a long time with the Richard Hain family nowadays. What they're doing nowadays would look like. There's a couple, the kids are obviously all grown up. Falcon's like 18 years old, and it goes, what they've been doing recently. But it goes back to the case, and it says that the Robert Sanchez.
This kid's 18 years old now.
I think so. 18 or he's a full-grown adult essentially.
I need to get him on this podcast.
That would be really good if you could pull that off. That'd be crazy. Yeah.
What's his name?
Falcon Heaney.
Google that. See if he has any social media.
He's in a heavy metal rock band called the Heaney Boys, I think.
Yeah. We can get to the bottom of this real quick.
Well, that's what I'm about to. I'm about to give you the last piece of evidence of the story that I found myself.
How do you spell
in
Heaney?
this article? Heene.
Let's see. He probably has maybe an Instagram.
Maybe.
Midnight Heaney Boys.
That might be it. Yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah.
212 followers. So that would be a high chance of a response.
Maybe. That'd be amazing if you get him on the show.
These videos look very. Oh, that video's from 2014. Nothing's been on here. Oh, when was the last post? 2015 was the last post. I wonder if anybody. This Instagram might be kind of inactive. Falcon Heaney on Twitter.
That might be it. Yeah, that probably is.
Why won't it let me scroll? Last thing, also from 2015. This guy is just not on the internet.
I mean, no, he's by the article. It seems like he's more outgoing. He's just he works hard. He's not like his dad. He's not.
Here's an article from 2019, October 17, 2019. It says it Balloon Boy 10 years later.
Might be the same one I found.
Oh, this article from last year says that Falcon's 16.
Oh.
And there's a Rio that's 18 and a Bradford that's 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after this we're gonna see if we can get them on this podcast.
That'd be amazing if you could pull that off.
That would be insane.
That'd be your biggest guest star yet.
Well, I haven't had any guest stars really.
It'd be your first guest star.
Well, it'd be cool to get him and his dad.
Oh yeah, if you could land his dad, it would blow up. I guarantee you, this would be one of the biggest podcasts like you've ever done. It'd be the biggest, but it'd be like one of the biggest videos you've ever done.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be hype. Yeah,
I'd be taking notes. Be like, okay, so how exactly do I build one of these things? But how's that work?
You could probably get along with him.
Oh, I'm guarantee it.
Yeah.
So what's what's this last piece of evidence you got?
All right. So I'm not sure if it's even like evidence, but here's what happens. So Christian Sanchez goes into I think he goes to the same department, he approaches Heaney's old attorney, and he finds his evidence box, everything involving the case, and he starts going through it, and he finds something that wasn't in the case originally, and this is something that came to light. That, like this no one knew about this during the whole thing, but essentially he found a bunch of handwritten notes by Mayumi, the wife, and they were, let's see, it was appeared to have been created by her attorney. So Miami wrote a bunch of basically just notes about everything that was going on at the time. And so October 1st, Richard made a shop list. October 7th, 2nd, we shot intro of this project on the couch with the kids. October 3rd, we started building a flying saucer and shooting the process inside the house because it was snowing. October 6th, we have a video of Falcon saying, "I want to get inside of it." At October 14th, at night, Richard asked me to remember the story about Lawn Chair Larry. Then Richard mentioned if Falcon hid for half hours, 1.5 hours later, and landed, then mentioned in newspaper Fort Collins, Falcon can hide inside the closet with a safe in the basement. October 15th, to my understanding, we're never going to launch the flying saucer because the strong wind changed our mind. Because of the wind, it might crash in somebody's car or anything. Richard said we could do the third test and quit. That's why I thought he was acting so strange after the flying saucer went off. He went so hysterical because he started so hysterical. I always started taking it seriously. After it was launched, we did not know whether Falcon was in this flying saucer in the house or anywhere. October 18th, I found out when we visited our attorneys that Richard revealed he came down the basement to look for Falcon, but he wasn't there. Richard thought Falcon had really been in the flying saucer. So basically, these notes, which came out of nowhere, they support another claim that the Heenies did his publicity stunt to try and get the attention of a news company or a show company that Richard pitched an idea of they claim that he pitched an idea of a show in which a kid gets stuck in a flying saucer, and it's like a comedy kind of dramatic thing, and essentially that was an idea that Richard had before this experiment. So that's what they claim, which would obviously look pretty damning, because if he had this exact idea and this exact situation happens after it, then there's a connection. But the weird thing is that this attempts to explain why everything happened. So basically, it basically kind of says that this was supposed to be a hoax, that Richard Heaney planned this out to be a hoax. He was going to tell Falcon to hide. He was going to film Falcon playing the balloon, tell him to get out of it. He was going to then tell Falcon to hide in the basement in a safe, and he was going to film him doing the experiment. Everyone was going to pretend that experiment gone wrong, and he was going to 1.5 hours later, he was going to go downstairs and find a Falcon in the basement, and the news were going to come over, and it was going to be a huge story, and it was going to make them super, super famous. So everything these notes say makes it look like this was supposed to be a hoax, but when Richard went downstairs to check the basement, Falcon wasn't there, and he legitimately thought that Falcon had misunderstood his instructions and actually gotten the balloons. So it was a hoax gone wrong. That's what this says.
So it was like an unplanned or a hoax that wasn't supposed to be a hoax that turned into a hoax.
Yeah, essentially, that's what these notes say. But these notes, Robert Sanchez brings this up. He calls Richard Heaney and brings up these notes and asks her what these are, and he's baffled. Like, he doesn't understand where this came from. He says that whole thing never happened. I never said any of this. I didn't even know about Lawn Chair Larry. Someone mentioned it to me after the heist. Where did these come from? How did you find these? These don't exist. I never said any of that. And then Mayumi came in and said, I made the whole story up. And Richard responds, what? And Mayumi says, I wrote it. And she starts to cry. And so Richard starts going off and like, why would you write this? Why would you write this? This makes no sense. Why would you do this? And she said, to save myself because of our kids. And it just kind of goes back and forth with them freaking out, and Richard screaming at her, telling her that she ruins everything.
You ruined everything. This is all your fault.
Yeah, and that's where the article kind of ends. So my theory is that these notes they found, for one thing, they're extremely well written, some in parts, and in other parts they're poorly written. It seems like they're fabricated, because you don't go from being able to barely speak English to being able to speak perfect, clear English. it looks like someone was writing to try and fake being bad at English, just the way they're written.
Right.
Also the fact that they didn't find these notes in their investigation when they had full access to the Heaney's family's entire house and didn't find these notes doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
you would think if they had access to the entire house, they would have found that.
Yeah. So my theory is that the interrogator. There's no video evidence of this, but my theory is that somebody came to Miami and made a deal with her that she would get to keep her citizenship and that nothing would happen to their family if she wrote a series of fake notes to back up the claims. That's what my theory is. The problem is if somebody had come up to her and asked her to write these things, these notes would have been brought into the court case and they would have used this against Richard, which they didn't.
Right.
So I don't know what happened. It doesn't seem like there was something like that she would write, but she said I made the whole story up, like as if she did write the notes, even though the notes don't seem written by her. It's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, this whole thing is kind of really off.
There's a lot to it.
Not a lot of this makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, there's clearly something. There's a lot of things that we don't know.
Right.
So if you could get Richard Heaney on here,
that's the only way to solve this. Get him on this podcast.
Yeah.
If I get him on here, are you going to interview him with me?
Yeah, I would love to.
Oh, I legitimately am going to try to reach out to them.
You should. That'd be amazing. That would put you up with Internet Historian, honestly, because you'd be one of the few people that actually gets like an interview with him. That'd be huge if you could pull it off.
But I have a very strong feeling that they're probably have been trying to hide from people like me since this whole thing, and they're probably gonna be like, no, get away.
Obviously, yeah. Well, Richard Heen, after Internet Historian posted that thing defending him, Richard Heen reached out to Internet Historian and sent him all that footage that he used. The Internet Historian posted on his channel of Richard Heen's defending himself. So Richard Heen did reach out to Internet Historian.
Really?
Yeah. That was 3 years ago, but yeah, I mean, so maybe.
I wonder. I'm gonna have to find this guy.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if anybody else has just given him a chance to just tell his story.
I haven't seen anything. I have not seen. Obviously, there's interviews, like the news interviewing him, but I haven't seen a podcast. I haven't seen him on any podcasts.
Because that's what I would do. I would just be like, hey, just tell your story. And that's that.
I mean, he's been doing interviews for years, always claiming his innocence. But I don't think he's ever been on a podcast. Maybe if you phrase it just right, you can convince him.
Type it all up, get it all professional, and be like, all right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I'm kind of curious now about old lawn chair Larry. What happened to him?
Well, I actually read his essentially his life story. So he
You read whose life story?
Lawn Chair Larry. So
Okay.
Lawn Chair Larry, he did that thing with the balloons and his attached him to his lawn chair, went up in the air, popped some of the balloons, so let himself back down, and he claimed that it was a massive success. It was a dream come true. Something he'd been trying to do for like 20 years, and he finally pulled it off. And he said that it was like he basically used it as a proof that you could do anything you set your mind to, and people started like praising him to be this example of how you should never give up and you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. And he became he had like essentially like a 15 minutes of fame kind of deal. Like he was on talk shows everywhere, on on interviews.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he became a motivational speaker, and then after the fame kind of wore off, he went back to being poor, and then he kind of just like went to try to make as much money as he could from being a motivational speaker. He broke up with his girlfriend that helped him do the balloon thing, and eventually his life kind of fizzled out, and eventually he took a hike in Los Angeles, like just on this random hike trail, and he was found hanging from a tree in that trail. So a motivational speaker that commits suicide.
What a sad way to go in the middle of the woods. That kind of sucks because I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, if I could get that guy, and if I could get Lawn Chair Larry, but if he's dead, I can't interview somebody who's dead. unless I get like a witch to talk to him.
Like a seance. Yeah.
Someone to like work up some spells and be like, contact Lawn Chair Larry, ask him how many balloons he had.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that answered that question with what he's doing with his life now.
Yeah.
Nothing. So, I want to, you know what I should do?
What?
I should remake the craft that, like the little thing.
Balloon.
Yeah, like well, it's not really a balloon. It's like a UFO type thing.
It's a balloon shape of a UFO.
I should remake that for a video and see if it can take up 37 pounds.
I mean, it can. They proved it again with math. If you do everything that he did exactly
But
the way he did.
showing math on the screen is a lot different than
That's
building
true.
it and then showing it like floating away.
If you did something like that to help prove that Route 13 was right, and that might be enough to convince him that you're on his side, and maybe he'd be more inclined.
Maybe that'd be the way to get him. Be like, listen, I'm going to make this video and build this thing and then do the podcast.
Yeah. If you could pull that off, I swear.
That thing can't be that hard to build. I mean, it was like tarp and duct tape and plywood.
It's not just a blimp. You know, it's he was experimenting. He was trying to invent something brand new using a scientific process and effect.
Well, I wouldn't do any of the whatever else he had, like the electric whatever to like
Have
the
to
panels to like do whatever. Like I wouldn't do any of that. I would just make the things to see if it would float and
But you'd have to make it by the exact same measurements and weights, and you'd have to have substitutes for all the batteries in he had, because everything has to be exact if you're going to prove them right.
Right. I mean, you could easily just have like weight to represent the different things.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. That'd be awesome. Well, I guess there you have it, Balloon Boy.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I think that's it. That's all I had on Blue Boy.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Not like Nico.
I think I think that's a good spot to end it.
Yeah.